based on this book. All right? And as I say, when I get to the presentation, I'll talk about what I'm going to do here. Now, one of the things that Robert did in terms of his education, he's talking about the value of increasing your financial intelligence and your financial knowledge. Increasing your financial intelligence helps you understand how money works. And that's what we're going to be talking about, how money works. It makes money work for you instead of you working for money. That's a huge concept. Make a note of that, okay? Mr. Kiyosaki says, when it comes to money, the greatest asset is your financial knowledge. And he also says, in each of us, there's a financial genius. We just need to wake it up. Right. Now that wording is just a little different than what we taught in the Quran. Each one of us have the ability to soar to great heights. All we have to do is apply the knowledge that we've given. Okay? All we have to do is to apply it. So there's nothing that's not inconsistent with what I've been taught in Al-Islam. Now, let me deal with something that's probably going to be unique to all of you. Anybody here got an accounting background? Anybody here's got an accounting background? Okay, I'm going to say a few things that it might be a little different. Because I have an AA degree in business administration and my minor is accounting. But here's the first basic. An asset. Now, remember, Robert's rich dad was teaching young people starting at 9 years old. And these are little boys. So you just think about a nine-year-old child. You start teaching them about money. An asset. What he said was, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. That's what an asset is. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. All right? Now that's his definition. So what is your house? That's why, okay. What did you say your house was? Okay, all right. So now you understand what I'm going to say, right? We have been taught all our life that our personal home is an asset. How much does your personal home put money in your pocket? How many in here's personal home puts money in their pocket? Personal home. Okay. But for the most of us, it costs money in my personal. I know in my home, it takes money out of my pocket. I have to pay a mortgage. I have to pay for the utilities. So it takes money out of my pocket. All right, so it is someone's asset. It's just not your asset. It is an asset, but it's not your asset. It's the bank's asset. Whoever you owe the mortgage to. And even if your home is paid for, don't pay the taxes to find out whose asset it will become. Okay? Seriously, you know. So truly, what he was saying was he was trying to help them understand. Simple thing, simple fact. If you have something that puts money in your pocket, you can consider it an asset. If it takes money out of your pocket, it's a liability. All right? He was trying to set a tone and set a floor for helping young people, starting, like I said, 9 years old, how they can become financially secure and independent and not go along with what the world says. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking about what the world teaches you. I'm talking to you so I can help you understand that if you want to be free of what the world teaches you and you want to be independent, you got to think independently. You just can't think along with what the world teaches you. Right, so when we look at a financial statement, a financial picture, this is what we usually see. See, that's a typical financial statement. You see where they have the primary residence? Isn't it located on their assets? That's what you usually see. That's what you usually see when they present it. I just Xeroxed that aside of Black Enterprises about, I think this is last month's issue. So it's still presented like this. All right? I'm telling you, don't think like this, though. If you think like this, you'll continue to go along with the world the way it is, and you'll continue to struggle financially. And the only time you'll get probably wealthy as you like is what many of our people try to do, and that's go out. Now, I don't think anybody else is going to do it. But we go out and try, to buy a lottery ticket and hoping that's going to help us, become wealthy. You don't have to do that. We don't have to do that, all right? But you start thinking differently about money. So, how did Robert and his best friend begin being taught how to look at a financial statement, like an income statement, a balance sheet? This is what they started with. Something simple like this. Just simple boxes. Income, expenses, that's the income statement. And at the bottom, assets and liabilities. That's the balance sheet. That's the balance sheet. This is the basic of any financial report. Any financial information, this is the basis of it. All right? It begins simple like this. Income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. Now, I'm going to talk to you about a very important concept. I think most of you know it anyway. Cash flow. If you want to know how you're doing financially, you got to know how much money you got coming in. You got to know how much money is going out. And more important, you got to know where it's going when it goes out. All right? Not just that it's coming in and going out, but what am I spending it on? They'll tell you, if you really want to get a handle on your budget, you got to know how you're spending your money. All right? Well, I'm going to show you a cash flow pattern of a poor person, of a middle class person, and of a wealthy person. And I'm going to show you the differences. Here's the cash flow of a poor person. Most poor people, or struggling people, they make their money from a job. Most of them make their money from a job. And most of their money goes out just to live. They're just trying to live. So it goes from rent, food, clothing. Look at the one after ever, the fun. The fun is there now, Got to spend some money on the fun. All right. And other things. So now that's the cash flow of a poor person. Let's look at a middle class. I went too fast. Middle class income. Still, most of it's from a job, for the most part. But they go down and start buying what they call liabilities that they think are assets, okay? And then it still comes up and goes out the expense column. So, look at what the biggest expense is for middle class. It's the biggest expense for poor people too. What's the biggest expense? What's the biggest expense for in your income? What's your biggest expense? What comes off the top before you even get your money? That's the biggest expense. Before you can get it, the government took their part. Okay? That's the largest expense it is for poor people who just work for a living. Taxes. Income tax, Social Security tax, Medicare. When you get through the taxes, they tell you have to work almost to April of each year before you can start working for yourself. You work for the tax person, be the government, whoever you want to. But taxes, that's your biggest expense. So, most middle class people, they have a mortgage, fuel expense, the food and stuff like that. But where they get trapped is they have a nice home. It's adequate. But the government, or what they've been told that, the bigger home, since it's an asset, the bigger home you got, the better it is. Now, there's only two people. They got a 2-bedroom home. But now, I need 5 bedrooms, because a bigger house, I got to raise, they said, I got to have a bigger house. Because the bigger house I have, the bigger the asset, it's good. But they're struggling. The car, well, they got a Ford, and they're getting along all right, but I got to have a Lexus. I got to have a Lexus, I got to have a Cadillac. I got to look good. And they're keeping up with the Joneses, and the Joneses was drowning in debt, okay?